Hi, moms and dads. Dr. Nicole here with a family-friendly tech tip. Screen time gets a lot of bad rap for causing problems for kids, right? We all know we shouldn't have our kids spending exorbitant amounts of time on screens and electronic devices, and yet screen time can be used for lots of helpful learning type things too. So I want to talk a little bit about the balance of that for today, because there actually are some great learning apps and programs and games that really can support kids' learning and development. So I want to give you some things to think about as you consider using screen time as learning and supportive developmental time for your kids. The first is that you want to choose high quality educational type apps and games, particularly when you're looking at things geared towards younger kids. There's a lot of stuff out there that may be entertaining for kids, but isn't really quality in terms of the types of things that they are promoting and the types of things that kids can learn. So a couple websites that can be helpful for you to choose high quality, developmentally appropriate content are commonsensemedia.org, that does ratings and reviews of lots of apps and platforms and things, as well as the Entertainment Software Rating Board, which is esrb.org. And that is the rating system that's used to give kind of age levels and limits for lots of the games and apps that are out there. So those are two great things to check into. Second thing you want to think about is making sure that even when your kids are using screen time for learning type activities, that they're taking breaks every 20 to no more than 30 minutes. And that's important not only for their visual development, to not constantly be using their eyes for up close work, but also just to take a break to move around, give their brain some other kind of stimulation, different things to do, get physically moving. So taking breaks is important. Also really beneficial to make sure that kids are choosing one app or activity and sticking with it, as opposed to hopping around to lots of things all the time. Sometimes I'll watch kids, and especially younger ones, and they'll just click on things, and if they don't like something after a few seconds, they'll click to something else, and that really promotes sort of inattentiveness and impulsiveness, and not finishing something that you start. So even if your child ends up starting an app or a game and they don't love it, it's important to have them see that through to completion before just hopping around and doing lots of different things. Also vitally important to make sure that you're balancing screen time by choosing other types of activities for your kids to engage in. So we're not just going to do apps and games on the computer or on the tablet. We're going to do learning activities and reading and other kinds of things in real life, and not just with screen time. Another tip is, especially with younger children, to use the apps and the games and the activities on devices with your child, particularly when we're talking about things like reading kinds of activities, or things that they can watch and then answer questions about or do games about. Sitting down and doing those things with your child, promoting that sense of social engagement, communication, that really enhances the benefits of whatever the screen time activity is. So doing those things together. Definitely avoid games and activities that are overstimulating for your child. If you notice that your child tends to be more impulsive, hyperactive, irritable, just in general overstimulated after doing a certain game or activity on their device, that may be something to really limit or look at other options for them. And then my final tip is to really avoid media multitasking. What that means is using more than one device or app at a time. I particularly see this with kids as they get older. They maybe are watching something, on the computer while they are scrolling social media on their phone or responding to text, having multiple types of media going on at once. What the research shows is that creates a situation where kids become more impulsive, less focused. It sort of promotes that more inattentive brain, and that's not conducive to learning. So choosing one device, one activity at a time, and sticking with that. As with everything with our kids, balance is the key. Technology and screen time can be really helpful as learning tools, as long as we are also promoting and balancing them with real world kinds of activities. So finding that balance is key, whatever that looks like for you. I hope you find these tips helpful as you think about screen time as learning time for your kids, and I'll be back next time with more family-friendly tech tips.